Hello everyone and welcome to another speed build and finally back to a movie habitat. It's been a long time and today we are building Casa Madrigal from the movie Encanto, and I hope that you guys are excited for it despite the fact that this has been done a couple of times already in Planet Zoo. Now I have been building on this thing for a couple of weeks, even months, I gotta say, but there were several reasons to why I didn't realize it quite yet, and there's also not everything done quite yet, but this is something we're going to talk about in this entire video. Today we are going to build the main structure and we're going to focus on some details, and details is a very good hint over here. I wanted to make this thing super detailed. I have seen some versions on the workshop that I downloaded to check out what other people did, and there were some cool versions from the key art of the movie without even the actual movie. I saw also they've been released before the movie release, so obviously they couldn't know about the final version in the movie, and they have been turned into a shop, which I liked a lot, but obviously it's been quite different from what the final movie version of Casa Madrigal is. Also, I'm turning that obviously into a habitat for animals, and this is going to be like a mixed South American habitat because I thought that makes sense, since this is most likely being played in Colombia, so that makes sense as well. Like, South America is the setting for this movie, and I'm really excited to bring this to you guys. I really spent a lot of hours researching, watching the movie again to take some screenshots. In fact, actual screenshots. I made photos with my phone of my screen because you can't take, obviously, screenshots from Disney Plus. And so I was even doing that to get the right dimensions and everything. And honestly, potentially that is the most difficult movie habitat build I've ever done. Even the Jumanji one was certainly easier because the house is somewhat easier to build. It's somewhat a lot more straightforward. This house is very confusing. I needed to take a lot of different pictures from different angles, and since it's an animation movie, they have a lot more freedom in faking areas, you know. They build rooms and stuff and then don't have to fit into the actual build because, well, it's just a room, you know, and then they just mix things together. So it's kind of fake, and in here you have to do it in a way that it works, and so you will see me moving a lot of things during the build. Couple of breaks are in between as well, in which I was checking out the screenshots, and again, as I said, this was one of my most complicated one. In fact, just to give you a little bit of a hint how long it took, I listened to the entire audiobook of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I was looking for the English word for it, and the beginning of the Order of the Phoenix as well. So yeah, I would say one and I don't know, 10% of another entire Harry Potter audiobook, which is I think 12 or 13 hours or something per book, and then yeah, I don't know. It's been quite a struggle to bring this all into one build. It is super detailed. I think I didn't use any prefab whatsoever. I built everything myself. The windows, the doors, the structures, everything is individual pieces to make sure that we can open it up and, you know, just use it in a way it works. And honestly, even the flowering and stuff took me ages to figure out which flowers work the best to make it really pop, you know, as you have seen in the beginning in the little intro shots. And I also wanted to kind of, you know, get this vibe in from the broken down building, getting it back to the real one, which I've done at the very beginning as the intro. There's more to come. I have some ideas as well what I want to do, but it's quite struggle to bring this in. I was quite struggling to find the right way of doing it, and you can see here I'm also doing this. Also, just I'm very sorry to say that, it's just super off topic, but if I'm sounding nosy in the next couple of days, I'm very sorry. Pollen allergy is absolutely ridiculous at this point. I'm even taking medics at the moment because I just can't go without. I always try to avoid the medics during the pollen because I think it's getting better year by year, but the less medics I use, I feel like for the next year it's going to be better, and hence I'm trying to not use medics. But this year it's so crazy strong that I need to take them, but the nosiness will not go out of my voice because it's just ridiculous. I am drinking a lot. I'm preparing for each individual recording, but it's super hard to keep talking without, I don't know, talking weird. without muffling and stuff. You know, it's real. I really wish people don't have pollen allergy. It's one of the worst things when it comes to annoying chronic things to have. At least it's nothing bad, you know, but it's just super annoying. Now, I don't want to bother you too much with it. It's just like I'm still super mad that we didn't have a single snowflake in this winter. We didn't have a single day below 0. We didn't have a single day of at least winter feel. We've had November for 6 months. It almost feels like it's got 4 months, but whatever. So at the end of the day, I'm ready now to go into tropical vibes because winter just didn't do well on me. So let's go into tropical vibes. Honestly though, I think it's time now, after 5.5 minutes or so, to talk about Encanto, the movie. I have to say I saw that movie quite late because we waited for the Disney Plus release. We've had a couple of movies last year that we paid for on Disney Plus, and even though I'm quite split, it's a lot of money to have the VIP kind of ticket thingy going on. But compare that to going to the theater, it's not that much actually, because if you think like getting popcorn, a couple of drinks and stuff, you know, and 2 or 3 tickets, it's merely the same money-wise, and so I'm quite okay with paying this VIP, you know, entrance ticket, whatever thingy, to be able to see the movie. But Encanto was first of all in the theaters, and the overall situation in Germany didn't allow us to go to the cinema at that time, so we waited for it until it was released, and that means also why I started being on that hype train a little bit later. As you know, with the Raya Habitat I did, it was like a couple of days after release, and you know, we've watched that one, but this was a different story, and so I watched the movie quite late into its existence, I would say, in the first year at least, and I was blown away. I did not expect that movie to be that good. I know that Disney did a couple of good ones, but I think this has become my second favorite after Vaiana, or like it's actually Moana for you guys. For me, it's Vaiana. Don't worry, it's German weirdness. Every now and then, the German Disney decides to rename a movie for whatever reason, so it's the same name on the whole world, and then there's a different name in Germany, and it just kind of confuses people. But it's Moana, obviously. Which still is my favorite modern Disney movie. It's not my favorite overall, but my favorite modern Disney movie, and I think Encanto really got up there. In fact, they had quite some very good ones lately, but this one really is up there because of everything, like the pacing, the setting, the characters, the overall story. I mean, it's like a typical Disney story, so it's nothing I would say like, oh my god, that's like a crazy story, but at least the story was quite a bit better than Raya was, and also I just liked the overall vibe of it, you know. The overall vibe of the movie was just really cool. Reminded me a lot of what I was feeling when I was watching Moana for the first time, even though I'd say that Moana is a little bit more on the comics, you know, comedy side of things, while this one was a little bit more on the serious side of things, but I think that's totally fine. Now, speaking of which, I'm also quite fine with the build at the end of the day. I gotta say though, I've seen that a couple of people have built this even in the last couple of weeks, and their builds are all fantastic. And I really thought if I wanted to stop this, but you know, I've been doing movie habitats from the very beginning. In fact, my second ever Planet Zoo video was a movie habitat, without knowing that this is going to be a movie habitat, but it was. And so I thought, you know what, that's just like part of my series, so why not release that anyways? And even if you guys are not like super hyped now to see yet another one, I am very happy with the build, because I think this is well into the top 3 movie habitats I've built so far. Maybe I'm still, I don't know. Maybe I see the Jumanji one at least in terms of overall detail on top of that, but it's not really comparable, as I said, because the builds are so different. But overall, the vibe and the colors and the building itself, I like this one more. But you guys are here to judge. You will see a couple of cinematics at the end, and then you'll have the chance to, just help me judge if you like this the most, or if not, what is your favorite movie habitat. By the way, I will link to the top right now to the card, the other movie habitats. Please don't leave that video, but you can watch them afterwards, okay? So there's a couple of movie habitats I did in the past. Just if you guys are new to the channel or you haven't seen that back then, just to name some, I did a Mandalorian themed, I did a Star Wars themed, a Lord of the Ring themed, a Planet of the Apes one we have, a Jumanji original movie themed one as well. We've got still one of my favorite ones is Emperor's New Groove habitat we did as well. This unfortunately was not seen by that many people because it was totally out of any kind of context, and I just pushed that out, and just a couple of very, I think, core fans of the channel saw that one. But I still like it a lot with the temple and stuff, you know, really, it's still one of my favorite movies, all-time movies. Emperor's New Groove is just amazing. But yeah, is there anything else I forgot to say about the movie habitats? I don't think there is, but I have to say a lot about this build. You can see how much I was struggling to get the right dimensions in. I was looking constantly on different screenshots, and here's another thing to movie animation builds. Okay, well, let me just rephrase that. In a cinematic universe, so to say, it's not a universe, but in a cinematic space, you obviously use certain tricks to have different perspectives and also different kind of spaces in which you can film certain things. You make things bigger and smaller depending on what kind of emotion you want to translate into it. You have different camera angles to transport if the character is feeling confident or is fearing or whatever. There are so many things that you can do with angles and spaces and dimensions that obviously there's a lot of fake going on, and there's there's basically never a building that stays exactly the same proportions. Even in like real life movies, they change certain things with angles, or sometimes even moving bigger kind of furnitures in and stuff. Just like subtle things that you won't notice. Your mind will not tell you that this is wrong, but you know, subconsciously you will understand the certain emotion that has to be translated. And that is the thing that you can't translate into this, because you could only build themes if you want. And once in my entire, you know, Planet game life, I did this, and that was with the recreation of the Planet Coaster reveal trailer. I nearly cried here at my desk of pain because I just couldn't get it right. And then I started to build the same scenes in different sizes, and I figured out, okay, this now works because it has such a different feel to it now, even if it was way too small or way too big. But then you could see from the screenshot, now we are talking, this is the angle, this is the, you know, kind of field of view that I need. And this was in particular super hard over here to realize, simply because this time around, it's the first time I'm going for the exact building rather than a kind of inspired version. You know, all of my other builds were inspired by the movie and had a lot of things that I borrowed directly from the architectural style, but I never went for the exact carbon copy of the build, which this time I wanted to, because I just find Casa Madrigal is so freaking awesome that I just needed to do that. But again, this will bring you into these kind of problems that I just mentioned. But it was a fun task. It was a really fun task. So what you will see at the end is my version of the Casa Madrigal, the best way possible I could create the dimensions. And next time around, we will even do the interior, because that's one thing I didn't tell you. Today's episode will end without the interior. I have done it like 80%, but at this point, the video would have been so insanely long, and I did already cut out a lot, and I did already leave out all the interior bits I already did, and I'm still at around 10.5 hours of content that I boiled down into this very video you're seeing in front of you. Yeah, so I decided to split it up in 2 episodes, and then in the second video, which I have no idea exactly when it's going to be released, most likely next week, you'll get every single bit for you, so you can download this. You've got the blueprints. I'm even trying to make like couple of single things like the doors and stuff, so you can only use them if you want, or like this balcony or so, or you can just copy them out of this if you want. But yeah, you'll get the habitat and the restaurant style as well, so you can get it all and put it into your zoos if you want. And it's obviously all going to be put into our actual movie zoo, which still is there and exists, I guess. There's not really anything we did so far with it, but yeah, I'm still happy I have it. Now, yeah, God, guys, this was such a fun build, and Also, there was so much fuss going on in the world that I decided to stop building this for a couple of days, simply because I wasn't feeling it, you know. But now I think it's very important to also have some happy content every now and then. So I really hope you guys could, you know, just take that video and be happy for a couple of minutes looking at all these colorful things to be built. That is, you know, very nice colors, making hopefully you feel a bit happier than you've been before the video. This should be my overall target, and I really hope you guys felt that way. I at least had a lot of fun building this. I at least felt really good now jumping back into the build. Was really a huge satisfaction to see this coming alive, and you'll see that later on in the in the wonderful cinematic shots that already have a little bit more than you've seen in the time lapse. But I think this is totally fine this time around, so you guys can see actually what will happen next time around as well. And if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? If you like the content or this video just simply made you happy a little bit and you are smiling a bit more than you were before, please consider subscribing, because that really helps me out the most. It really helps the algorithm to understand that you guys like the video. I mean, you can dislike it, no one cares anymore because YouTube just got rid of the dislike button. This is so stupid. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a very good time. Stay safe, everyone, and thank you so much for your ongoing support. I'll talk to you in the next one. Have a good time, and goodbye.